From The Mind in Comfort and Ease by the 14th Dalai Lama. The Importance of Bodhicitta. This bodhicitta is of extraordinary and crucial importance. Don't you find it truly moving the more you think about it? We should say to ourselves, while I live, I will meditate on bodhicitta. This is what will give meaning to my life. At the moment of death, I will meditate on bodhicitta. It will help me to continue onward on my way toward enlightenment. When I am thriving and happy, I will meditate on bodhicitta. It will enable me to use my prosperity to serve others and avoid the pitfalls of pride, envy, and lack of respect. When I face failure and sadness, I will meditate on bodhicitta. It will prevent me from losing heart and losing hope. So, all the time and in any situation, in life, when death is near, in success or failure, in joy or sorrow, bodhicitta is something I cannot be without. From A Commentary on the Awakening Mind by Nagarjuna. Just as the blessed Buddhas and the great Bodhisattvas have generated the mind of great awakening, I too shall, from now on, until I arrive at the heart of awakening, generate the awakening mind, in order that I may save those who are not saved, free those who are not free, relieve those who are not relieved, and help thoroughly transcend sorrow those who have not thoroughly transcended sorrow. From the Susiddhi, as quoted by Lama Tsong Khapa. In order to pacify the suffering of limitless sentient beings, to release them from bad migrations, liberate them from afflictions, and protect them completely from the varieties of sufferings when the discomforts of cyclic existence crowd in, I will generate the altruistic mind of enlightenment. May I always be a refuge for all destitute sentient beings, a protector of the protectorless, a support of those without a support, a refuge for the unprotected, maker of the miserable happy. May I cause the pacification of all sentient beings' afflictions. May whatever virtuous actions I have accumulated in this and other lives assume the aspects of the collections which are called merit and wisdom. May whatever effort I make by way of the 6 perfections be of benefit to all beings, without there being any exception. Making effort until enlightenment, I will strive at actions temporarily and limitlessly over lives, so that, in short, all the afflictions of all sentient beings may be pacified and they be freed. From A Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life by Shantideva. Chapter 1. The Benefit of the Awakening Mind. Respectfully, I prostrate myself to the Sugatas who are endowed with the Dharmakaya, as well as to their noble sons, and to all who are worthy of veneration. Here I shall explain how to engage in the vows of the Buddha's sons, the meaning of which I have condensed in accordance with the scriptures. There is nothing here that has not been explained before, and I have no skill in the art of rhetoric. Therefore, lacking any intention to benefit others, I write this in order to acquaint it to my mind. For due to acquaintance with what is wholesome, the force of my faith may for a short while increase because of these words. If, however, these words are seen by others, equal in fortune to myself, may it be meaningful for them. Leisure and endowment are very hard to find, and since they accomplish what is meaningful for man, if I do not take advantage of them now, how will such a perfect opportunity come about again? Just as a flash of lightning on a dark, cloudy night, for an instant brightly illuminates all, likewise in this world, through the might of Buddha, a wholesome thought rarely and briefly appears. Hence, virtue is perpetually feeble, the great strength of evil being extremely intense, and, except for a fully awakening mind, by what other virtue will it be overcome? All the Buddhas who have contemplated for many aeons have seen it to be beneficial, for by it the limitless masses of beings will quickly attain the supreme state of bliss. Those who wish to destroy the many sorrows of their conditioned existence, those who wish all beings to experience a multitude of joys, and those who wish to experience much happiness should never forsake the awakening mind. The moment an awakening mind arises in those fettered and weak in the jail of cyclic existence, they will be named as son of the Sugatas, and will be revered by both men and gods of the world. It is like the supreme gold-making elixir, for it transforms the unclean body we have taken into the priceless jewel of a Buddha form. Therefore, firmly seize this awakening mind. Since the limitless mind of the sole guide of the world has, upon thorough investigation, seen its preciousness, all beings wishing to be free from worldly abodes should firmly take hold of this precious awakening mind. All other virtues are like the plantain tree, for after bearing fruit they simply perish. But the perennial tree of the awakening mind unceasingly bears fruit, and thereby flourishes without end. Like entrusting myself to a brave man when greatly afraid, by entrusting myself to this awakening mind, I shall be swiftly liberated, even if I have committed extremely unbearable evils. Why then do the conscientious not devote themselves to this? Just like the fire at the end of an age, it instantly consumes all great evil. Its unfathomable advantages were taught to the disciple Sudana by the wise Lord Maitreya. In brief, the awakening mind should be understood to be of two types, the mind that aspires to awaken and the mind that ventures to do so. As is understood by the distinction between aspiring to go and actually going, so the wise understand in turn the distinction between these two. Although great fruits occur in cyclic existence from the mind that aspires to awaken, an uninterrupted flow of merit does not ensue as it does with the venturing mind. And for him who has perfectly seized this mind with the thought never to turn away from totally liberating the infinite forms of life, from that time hence, even while asleep or unconcerned, a force of merit equal to the sky will perpetually ensue. For the sake of those inclined toward the lesser vehicle, this was logically asserted by the Tathagata himself in the sutra requested by Subahu. If even the thought to relieve living creatures of merely a headache is a beneficial intention endowed with infinite goodness, then what need is there to mention the wish to dispel their inconceivable misery, wishing every single one of them to realize boundless good qualities? Do even fathers and mothers have such a benevolent intention as this? Do the gods and sages? Does even Brahma have it? If those beings have never before even dreamt of such an attitude for their own sake, how would it ever arise for the sake of others? This intention to benefit all beings, which does not arise in others even for their own sake, is an extraordinary jewel of the mind, and its birth is an unprecedented wonder. How can I fathom the depths of the goodness of this jewel of the mind, the panacea that relieves the world of pain and is the source of all its joy. If merely a benevolent intention excels venerating the Buddhas, then what need to mention striving to make all beings without exception happy? Although wishing to be rid of misery, they run toward misery itself. Although wishing to have happiness, like an enemy, they ignorantly destroy it. For those who are deprived of happiness and burdened with many sorrows, it satisfies them with all joys, dispels all suffering, and clears away confusion. Where is their comparable virtue? Where is there even such a friend? Where is there merit similar to this? If whoever repays a kind deed is worthy of some praise, then what need to mention the Bodhisattva who does good without its being asked of him? The world honors as virtuous a man who sometimes gives a little plain food disrespectfully to a few beings that satisfies them for only half a day. What need be said then of one who eternally bestows the peerless bliss of the Sugatas upon limitless numbers of beings, thereby fulfilling all their hopes? The Buddha has said that whoever bears an evil thought against a benefactor, such as that Bodhisattva, will remain in hell for as many aeons as there were evil thoughts. But if a virtuous attitude should arise in that regard, its fruits will multiply far more than that. When bodhisattvas suffer greatly, they generate no negativity. Instead, their virtues naturally increase. I bow down to the body of him in whom the sacred precious mind is born. I seek refuge in that source of joy who brings happiness even to those who harm him. Stabilizing in the Bodhi Mind by Shantideva. In the spiritual energy that relieves the anguish of beings in misery and places depressed beings in eternal joy, I lift up my heart and rejoice. In the goodness producing illumination, I lift up my heart and rejoice. I rejoice in the beings who have gained eternal liberation from suffering, and I rejoice in those attained to Buddhahood, as well as in their offspring, the noble bodhisattvas. In the ocean-like virtue of the Bodhi mind that brings joy to all beings, and in accomplishing the well-being of others, I lift up my heart and rejoice. To the Buddhas of the 10 directions, I join my hands in respect. Let blaze the light of Dharma's truth for the beings lost in darkness. To the Buddhas considering parinirvana, I join my hands in prayer. Do not abandon the beings in sorrow, but remain and teach for countless ages. May any spiritual energy thus generated by my devotion to the enlightened ones be dedicated to dispelling the misery of living beings without exception. As long as diseases afflict living beings, may I be the doctor, the medicine, and also the nurse who restores them to health. May I fall as rain to increase the harvest that must feed the living beings, and in ages of dire famine, may I myself serve as food and drink. May I be an unending treasury for those desperate and forlorn. May I manifest as what they require and wish to have near them. My body, every possession, and all goodness, past, present, and future, without remorse I dedicate to the well-being of the world. Suffering is transcended by total surrender, and the mind attains to nirvana. As one day all must be given up, why not dedicate it now to universal happiness? My bodily powers I dedicate to the well-being of all that lives. Should anyone wish to kill, abuse, or beat me, the responsibility is purely their own. Should anyone wish to ridicule me or make me an object of jest and scorn, why should I possibly care if I have dedicated myself to others? Let them do as they wish with me, so long as it does not harm them. May no one who encounters me ever have an insignificant contact. Regardless of whether those whom I meet respond toward me with anger or faith, may the mere fact of our meeting contribute to the fulfillment of their wishes. May the slander, harm, and all forms of abuse that anyone should direct toward me act as a cause of their enlightenment. May I be a protector of the helpless, a guide to those traveling the path, a boat to those wishing to cross over, or a bridge, or a raft. May I be land for those requiring it, a lamp for those in darkness. May I be a home for the homeless and a servant to the world. In order to fulfill the needs of beings, may I be as a magic gem, an inexhaustible vase, a mystic spell, a cure-all medicine, and a wish-granting tree. May I act as the mighty earth, or like the free and open skies, to support and provide the space whereby I and all others may grow. Until every being afflicted by pain has reached to nirvana's shores, may I serve only as a condition that encourages progress and joy. Just as all previous Buddhas first gave rise to the precious Bodhi-mind, and just as they then carefully followed the stages of the Bodhisattva disciplines, likewise, for the sake of living beings, do I now myself generate the Bodhi-mind, and likewise will I myself train in the disciplines of a Bodhisattva. They who out of wisdom have seized the supreme Bodhi-mind praise, glorify, and rejoice in it, that it may grow to fulfillment. From today I will reap the fruit of life, having well won the state of man. Today I am born in the Buddha family, and am now a child of the Buddhas. Thus, in future, I should make every effort to live in accord with the Bodhisattva ways, and never should I act as would bring shame to this noble, faultless family. Like a blind man fumbling in garbage happens to find a rare and precious gem, likewise I have discovered the jewel of the precious Bodhi-mind. Thus was found this supreme ambrosia to dispel the Lord of Death, destroyer of life, an inexhaustible treasure, able to cure the poverty of all sentient beings. It is the highest of medicines to quell the ills of the living, and is a tree giving shade to those wandering on the paths of life. It is a strong and mighty bridge by which beings can cross from misery, and it is a moon to shine in the mind to clear away the pains of delusion. The Bodhi-mind is a great radiant sun to disperse the darkness of unknowing, and it is the very essence of butters gained from churning the milks of Dharma. For all guests on the road of life who would taste the very substance of joy, here is the actual seat of true happiness, a veritable feast to satiate the world. Thus today, in the presence of all awakened ones, I invite every living being to this festival, giving both immediate and lasting joy. May the gods and all others rejoice. The Excellence of Meditation upon the Bodhi-mind by the 7th Dalai Lama. Honor to Buddha, the Supreme Sage, the Cosmic Overlord who awakens all beings from drunken ignorance by manifesting the hundredfold light of truth's brilliant door. Should even the earth be covered with a layer of lesser jewels, their radiance would be far surpassed by one fragment of a sparkling diamond. Similarly does one with Bodhi-mind outshine Hinayana followers. Of this thing called Bodhi-mind, source of all spiritual qualities, the supremely significant, the psyche of a high one, the force producing all Buddhas, I now sing this praise. The expanded mind which thinks only of that which benefits others is a tree of endless fruit. One touch of its divine sap quenches even the word suffering. Merely looking at hunger and deprivation turns one's stomach with horror. Bodhi-mind is the only medicine able to cure all forms of need, just as the Naga King's jewel fulfills the wants of even hungry ghosts. Animal passion which clouds the mind, animal stupidity blind to spiritual potential. The one sun to dispel them is Bodhi-mind, torch of infinite rays. For destitute beggars at the door of the treasury of higher delights, Bodhi-mind is the gatekeeper, and he fulfills mundane needs as well. Only Bodhimind, the thought to be a Buddha, totally purges the ugliest of sins, sins which result in suffering, a fraction of which would break a man. It is a magic thing to destroy misery now and forever, a fabled potion to open the passage of a mother in labor. The sole thought on everyone's side, the precious mind aiming at enlightenment as a way to further the world, was seen by Buddha to be the highest of spiritual means. For the sake of both yourself and others, plant the fertile seed of Bodhimind, which quickly produces the state of Buddha, freedom from every limitation, and make it firm as a mountain. Buddha said, by cultivating the seeds of Bodhimind, all spiritual qualities are born. Those who have developed it he called kings of doctors. It can be read in both the Sutras and Shastras that the Bodhimind is the door to the Mahayana, and that the supreme practitioner who attains it becomes a bodhisattva, a son of the Buddhas. Whether or not one is a bodhisattva is decided by whether or not one has Bodhimind. He is anointed with its sandalwood fragrance, is adorned by the richest of good qualities. Even the eagle, king of birds, cannot fly if he is missing a wing. Many find the wing perception of emptiness, but only those with the wing of Bodhimind fly to the omniscient state of Buddhahood. Were the advantages of Bodhimind to take form, the universe could not contain them. Generating it but for a moment produces more goodness than offering a world filled with the 7 jewels to the Buddhas of the 10 directions. This is but a drop from the ocean of the beneficial effects of Bodhimind, all of which even Buddha could not describe. Therefore, wrap closely around your shoulders the cloak of love and enthusiasm, for this one path all Buddhas have trod, and become a living legend of one attained to freedom and knowledge. By virtue of this song on the elixir which transforms gross beings into beautiful golden Buddhas, may all living beings attain to a state of expanded mind. From the Gandhavyuha Sutra. Sentient beings, trapped in aging and sickness, and tormented by 100 pains, seeing them assailed by the terrors of birth, death, and sorrow, he directs his conduct for their weal. Sentient beings, crushed by the wheels of suffering, within the circle of birth and death. Seeing this, he seeks the thunderbolt of wisdom that smashes to dust these wheels of woe. From the Sacred Heart Essence of the Pith Instructions by Nyoshul Khen Rinpoche. The pure and supreme precious bodhicitta, which is uncontrived, should arise in your being. Without this, there is no way to attain Buddhahood. So, firstly, the excellent preparation of generating the altruistic mind of enlightenment is important. Of all beings in the universe, none have not been our parents. Through their great kindness they formed our body, gave life and material goods, and showed us the ways of the world. Although they desire only happiness, they are like a blind person without a guiding friend. In order that all beings tormented in unbearable cyclic existence accomplish everlasting peace, unsurpassable enlightenment, motivated by the altruistic objective of the twofold benefit with both their aspects, you should generate the supreme mind intent upon attaining perfect enlightenment. This bodhicitta is the all-sufficient, wish-fulfilling jewel. This is the foundation of all the vast and profound teachings. This is the central point of all the paths of Sutra and Tantra. One aspect of the nature of the two truths is the relative level, the principal theme of all practice, the king of all supreme methods. Without this, there is no other means to accomplish Buddhahood. If you lack either method or wisdom, how will the path be accomplished? Of the two supreme paths, first the path of skillful means is praised, for the preparation on the path generate the bodhicitta. This has immeasurable benefits, the all-knowing Lord Maitreya said to Norzang. The bodhicitta is like the moon which eliminates darkness. Bodhicitta is like the all-illuminating sun. Bodhicitta expels the chronic disease of obscuring emotions. Bodhicitta protects from the terrors of samsara. Bodhicitta repels the obstacles of the 4 demons. Bodhicitta eliminates the fever of the 5 poisons. Bodhicitta acts as the stallion of an endeavor. Bodhicitta is the sturdy armor of patience. Bodhicitta discards all moral downfalls. Bodhicitta supports the accomplishment of meditative concentration. Bodhicitta gives birth to excellent tranquility. Bodhicitta causes supreme wisdom to arise in the mind. Bodhicitta perfects the great accumulation of merit. Bodhicitta brings forth the view of emptiness. When bodhicitta is present, the moon of skillful means rises. If you meditate on bodhicitta, the sun of penetrating insight is evident. If you meditate on bodhicitta, pristine awareness fully unfolds. By bodhicitta, the benefit of others effortlessly arises. Through bodhicitta, the qualities of the 10 bodhisattva levels are perfected. All the relative qualities and the 112 freedoms of the great bodhisattvas dwelling on the first level up to the innumerable, ineffable, immeasurable wisdom eyes, clairvoyances, miraculous powers, and so forth, as well as the 32 major and minor signs of the countless Sugatas, golden bodies, and so on. All these enlightenment qualities, arising from the accumulation of merit, stem from the power of supreme, unsurpassable bodhicitta. Bodhicitta subdues the demon of ego-clinging. Bodhicitta frees from the prison of samsara. Bodhicitta evaporates the ocean of suffering. Bodhicitta equalizes suffering and happiness. Bodhicitta is like a brave escort. Bodhicitta is like the great fire at the end of an aeon. Bodhicitta is like the first fruit of a tree. Bodhicitta opens the door to the treasury of altruism. Lacking such profound and supreme bodhicitta, like powerful Ram, who dwelt 12 years in the forest, but was driven by the goad of attachment to fight his enemies, or like Gelong Tangpa, who, although he could fly freely in the sky, through having mastered energy and mind, started a battle, the fault was the absence of unsurpassing bodhicitta. Brahma himself, even after attaining desireless bliss, will become blazing firewood in a Vichy hell, and Indra, though venerated by the entire world, by the power of karma will fall back to the ground. Lacking the kingly mountain of bodhicitta is the fault. In this world, so many of those glorified by the highest rank, like great kings, generals, prime ministers, and presidents, finally destroyed themselves and others. The fault lay with the rotten root of bodhicitta. Innumerable Shravakas, Pratyakas, Buddhas, and hosts of other superior beings, possessing the 250 vows of pure ethical discipline. But although beautified by the 3 trainings, related practices, experience, and realization, without bodhicitta, the root of all dharma, sometimes liberating only themselves, they remained in great peace. From among the vast divisions of the Buddha's teaching, bodhicitta is the very quintessence. Bodhicitta repels the harm of the lower realms. Bodhicitta reveals the supreme path of liberation. If the yogin possesses bodhicitta, even if he doesn't accomplish any virtue through body and speech, he will not stray from the path of liberation. Thus said Choki Wangpo, who had mastered the 5 sciences. The 5 heinous evils, etc., all great negative actions, will be overpowered by the unsurpassable bodhicitta, and all lesser sins will also be removed, said the great Indian Pandit Shantideva. Whoever abides in the supreme bodhicitta, their life will be regarded as a pleasant garden. Whether successful or even destitute, the miseries of the lower realms won't terrify. Lord Maitreya stated, in the Sutra Lamkara. In brief, the unsurpassable precious Bodhicitta is the heart essence of all the Buddhas of the three times. Since without it there is no way to accomplish enlightenment, it is the authentic root of the path of sutras, tantras, and pith instructions. This excellent preparatory practice of generating bodhicitta is praised with one voice by all the millions of past holy ones. It should not become mere intellectual knowledge, but should be reflected upon again and again, and united with your being, my heart friends. It is not said merely for the lack of something to say, but emphasized because of its great importance. So train your mind with bodhicitta, my heart friends. Don't be distracted. Don't be distracted. Train in bodhicitta. Don't be mistaken. Don't be mistaken. Train in bodhicitta. Don't err. Don't err. Train in bodhicitta. If the foundation of bodhicitta is not firm, the extremely profound essential pith instructions of the creative and completion phases and other practices will be difficult to perfect. So the preparatory generation of bodhicitta is the starting point on the path. Think of the great aim. Bodhicitta is the aim to become a Buddha in order to bring the greatest benefit to all sentient beings. Vow. From this point forward, I dedicate myself to removing the suffering of all living beings and to bringing them all happiness. I dedicate myself fully to their healing and awakening, to their having comfort, strength of body, mind, and spirit, most excellent nourishment, health, longevity, every level of protection, shelter, food, clothing, medicine, education, joy, and wisdom. In order to accomplish the needs of living beings in the most effective way, I will develop my wisdom and compassion just as my teachers have done. I aim to become free of all faults and complete in all qualities, and day by day, hour by hour, to always offer as much help as I can. In this way, I will make a gift of my life. In this way, my own life will be fulfilled. I dedicate myself fully, leaving nothing out, to the complete healing, fulfillment, and enlightenment of living beings. No matter how long it takes, no matter how difficult it may be, no matter what it costs. With all my heart and with all my strength, I vow to always serve all living beings in every way that is necessary for them, and in every way that will bring each and every one of them true and lasting health and happiness. 8 Verses for Training the Mind by Langri Tangpa. May I always cherish all beings with the resolve to accomplish for them the highest good that is more precious than any wish-fulfilling jewel. When among others, I will think of myself as lowest among all, and will hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as an afflictive emotion arises, endangering both self and others, I will firmly face and avert it. When meeting with those who have especially strong sins and suffering, I will learn to cherish them as if I had found a precious treasure very difficult to find. When others treat me badly, with slander, abuse, and so on, I will accept all loss and offer the victory to them. When one I have benefited hurts me, I will learn to view that one as my own supreme guru. In short, I will learn to offer all help and happiness to all beings, both directly and indirectly, and I will remove as much suffering as these beings may have. I will keep these practices undiminished by the usual worldly preoccupations, and, By knowing appearances to be like illusions, I will be without the limitations that accompany ego grasping. From A Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life by Shantideva. Chapter 7. Enthusiasm. Having patience, I should develop enthusiasm, for awakening will dwell only in those who exert themselves. Just as there is no movement without wind, so merit does not occur without enthusiasm. What is enthusiasm? It is finding joy in what is wholesome. Its opposing factors are explained as laziness, attraction to what is bad, and despising oneself out of despondency. Because of attachment to the pleasurable taste of idleness, because of craving for sleep, and because of having no disillusion with the misery of cyclic existence, laziness grows very strong. Enmeshed in the snare of disturbing conceptions, I have entered the snare of birth. Why am I not aware that I live in the mouth of the Lord of Death? Do I not see that he is systematically slaughtering my species? Whoever remains soundly asleep surely behaves like a buffalo with a butcher. When, having blocked off every escape route, the Lord of Death is looking for someone to kill, how can I enjoy eating, and likewise how can I enjoy sleep? For as long as death is actually approaching, then I shall accumulate merits. Even if I then put a stop to laziness, what will be the use? That is not the time. When this has not been done, when this is being done, and when this is only half finished, suddenly the Lord of Death will come, and the thought will occur, "Oh no, I am done for." Their faces flowing with tears, their eyes red and swollen with sorrow, my relatives will finally lose hope, and I shall behold the vision of the messengers of death. Tormented by the memory of my evils, and hearing the sounds of hell, in terror I shall clothe my body in excrement. What virtue can I do in such a delirious state? If even in this life I shall be gripped with fear, like that of a live fish being rolled in hot sand, why mention the unbearable agonies of hell that will result from my unwholesome deeds? How can I remain at ease like this when I have committed the actions that will bear fruit in my delicate infant's body encountering boiling acids in the hell of tremendous heat? Much harm befalls those with little forbearance, and those who want results without making any effort. While clasped by death, they shall cry like the gods, "Oh no, I am overcome by misery." Relying upon the boat of a human body, free yourself from the great river of pain. As it is hard to find this boat again, this is no time for sleep, you fool. Having rejected the supreme joy of the sacred Dharma, this is a boundless source of delight. Why am I distracted by the causes of pain? Why do I enjoy frivolous amusements and the like? Without indulging in despondency, I should gather the supports for enthusiasm and earnestly take control of myself. Then, by seeing the equality between self and others, I should practice exchanging self for others. I should never indulge in despondency by entertaining such thoughts as, "How shall I ever awaken?" For the Tathagatas who speak what is true have uttered this truth. If they develop the strength of their exertion, even those who are flies, mosquitoes, bees, and insects will win the unsurpassable awakening which is so hard to find. So, if I do not forsake the Bodhisattva's way of life, why should someone like myself, who has been born in the human race, not attain awakening, since I am able to recognize what is beneficial and what is of harm? But, nevertheless, it frightens me to think that I may have to give away my arms and legs, without discriminating between what is heavy and what is light. I am reduced to fear through confusion. For over countless myriads of eons I have been cut, stabbed, burned, and flayed alive innumerable times, but I have not awakened. Yet the suffering involved in my awakening will have a limit. It is like the suffering of having an incision made in order to remove and destroy greater pain. Even doctors eliminate illness with unpleasant medical treatments. So, in order to overcome manifold sufferings, I should be able to put up with some discomfort. But the Supreme Physician does not employ common medical treatments such as these. With an extremely gentle technique, he remedies all the greatest ills. At the beginning, the guide of the world encourages the giving of such things as food. Later, when accustomed to this, one may progressively start to give away even one's flesh. At such a time when my mind is developed to the point of regarding my body like food, then what hardship would there be when it came to giving away my flesh? Having forsaken all evil, there would be no suffering, and, due to wisdom, there would be no lack of joy. But now my mind is afflicted by mistaken conceptions, and my body is caused harm by unwholesome deeds. As their bodies are happy due to their merits, and their minds are happy due to their wisdom, if even they remained in cyclic existence for the sake of others, why would the compassionate ones ever be upset? Due to the strength of his awakening mind, the Bodhisattva consumes his previous evils and harvests oceans of merit. Hence, he is said to excel the Shravakas. So, having mounted on the horse of an awakening mind that dispels all discouragement and weariness, who, when they know of this mind that proceeds from joy to joy, would ever lapse into despondency? The supports, when working for the sake of living beings, are aspiration, steadfastness, joy, and rest. Aspiration is developed through fear of misery and by contemplating the benefits of aspiration itself. Thus, in order to increase my enthusiasm, I should strive to abandon its opposing forces, to amass the supports of aspiration, self-confidence, joy, and rest, to practice in earnest, and to become strong in self-control. I shall have to overcome the boundless faults of myself and others, and, in order to destroy each of these faults alone, I may have to strive until an ocean of eons is exhausted. But if within myself I do not perceive even a fraction of the perseverance required to exhaust these faults, then why do I not have a heart attack? For now I have become an abode for infinite misery. Likewise, I shall have to realize many excellent qualities for myself and others, and in order to attain each of these qualities alone, I may have to acquaint myself with its cause until an ocean of eons is exhausted. But I have never developed acquaintance with even a fraction of these excellences. How strange it is to squander this birth I have found by some coincidence. I have not made offerings to the Lord Buddhas. I have not given the pleasure of great festivals. I have not performed actions for the teachings. I have not fulfilled the wishes of the poor. I have not granted fearlessness to the frightened, and I have not given happiness to the weak. All I have given rise to is the agonies in the mother's womb and to suffering. Both now and in previous lives, such deprivation has arisen because of my lack of aspiring for the Dharma. Who would ever reject this aspiring for Dharma? The Mighty One himself has said that aspiration is the root of every facet of virtue. Its root is constant acquaintance with the ripening effects of actions. Physical pain, mental unhappiness, all the various kinds of fear, as well as separation from what is desired, all arise from an unwholesome way of life. However, by committing wholesome actions, which are motivated by aspiration in the mind, wherever I go I shall be presented with tokens of the fruit of that merit. But by committing evil actions, although I may wish for happiness, wherever I go I shall be completely overcome by the weapons of pain caused by my evil life. As a result of virtue, I shall dwell in the spacious, fragrant, and cool heart of a lotus flower. My radiance will be nourished by the food of the conqueror's sweet speech. My glorious form will spring from a lotus unfolded by the Mighty One's light. And as a bodhisattva, I shall abide in the presence of the conquerors. But as a result of my non-virtue, my skin will be ripped off by the henchmen of Yama. In this feeble state, liquid copper, melted by tremendous heat, will be poured onto my body. Pierced by flaming swords and daggers, my flesh will be cut into 100 pieces, and I shall tremble upon fiercely blazing iron ground. Therefore, I should aspire for virtue, and with great respect acquaint myself with it. Having undertaken the wholesome in the manner of Vajradhara, I should then proceed to acquaint myself with self-confidence. First of all, I should examine well what is to be done, to see whether I can pursue it or cannot undertake it. If I am unable, it is best to leave it, but once I have started, I must not withdraw. If I do, then this habit will continue in other lives, and evil and misery will increase. Also, other actions done at the time of its fruition will be weak and will not be accomplished. Self-confidence should be applied to wholesome actions, the overcoming of disturbing conceptions, and my ability to do this. Thinking, I alone shall do it, is the self-confidence of action. Powerless, their minds disturbed, people in this world are unable to benefit themselves. Therefore, I shall do it for them, since, unlike me, these beings are incapable. Even if others are doing inferior tasks, why should I sit here doing nothing? I do not do those tasks because of self-importance. It would be best for me to have no such pride. When crows encounter a dying snake, they will act as though they were eagles. Likewise, if my self-confidence is weak, I shall be injured by the slightest downfall. How can those who out of faint-heartedness have given up trying find liberation because of this deficiency? But even the greatest obstacle will find it hard to overcome. Therefore, with a steady mind, I shall overcome all falls. For if I am defeated by a fall, my wish to vanquish the 3 realms will become a joke. I will conquer everything, and nothing at all shall conquer me. I, a son of the lion-like conqueror, should remain self-confident in this way. Whoever has self-importance is destroyed by it. He is disturbed and has no self-confidence. For those with self-confidence do not succumb to the power of the enemy, whereas the former are under the sway of the enemy of self-importance. Inflated by the disturbing conception of my self-importance, I shall be led by it to the lower realms. It destroys the joyous festival of being human. I shall become a slave, eating the food of others, stupid, ugly, feeble, and everywhere disrespected. Tough people, bloated by conceit, are also counted among the self-important. Tell me, what is more pathetic than this? Whoever seizes self-confidence in order to conquer the enemy of self-importance, he is the self-confident one, the victorious hero. And in addition, whoever definitely conquers the spread of this enemy, self-importance, completely wins the fruit of a conqueror, fulfilling the wishes of the world. If I find myself amidst a crowd of disturbing conceptions, I shall endure them in 1,000 ways, like a lion amongst foxes. I will not be affected by this disturbing host. Just as men will guard their eyes when great danger and turmoil occur, likewise I shall never be swayed by the disturbances within my mind, even at times of great strife. It would be better for me to be burned, to have my head cut off and to be killed, rather than ever bowing down to those ever-present disturbing conceptions. So, likewise, in all situations, I should do nothing other than what is fit. Just like those who yearn for the fruits of play, a bodhisattva is attracted to whatever task he may do. He never has enough. It only brings him joy. Although people work in order to be happy, it is uncertain whether or not they will find it. But how can those whose work itself is joy find happiness unless they do it? If I feel that I never have enough sensual objects which are like honey smeared upon a razor's edge, then why should I ever feel that I have enough merit which ripens in happiness and peace? Thus, in order to complete this task, I shall venture into it, just as an elephant, tormented by the midday sun, plunges into a cool, refreshing lake. When my strength declines, I should leave whatever I am doing in order to be able to continue with it later. Having done something well, I should put it aside with the wish to accomplish what will follow. Just as an old warrior approaches the swords of an enemy upon the battlefront, so shall I avoid the weapons of the disturbing conceptions and skillfully bind this enemy. If someone dropped his sword during a battle, he would immediately pick it up out of fear. Likewise, if I lose the weapon of mindfulness, I should quickly retrieve it, being afraid of hell. Just as poison spreads throughout the body in dependence upon the circulation of blood, likewise, if a disturbing conception finds an opportunity, unwholesomeness will permeate my mind. Those who practice should be as attentive as a frightened man carrying a jar full of mustard oil, who is being threatened by someone with a sword, that he will be killed if he spills just one drop. Just as I would swiftly stand up if a snake came into my lap, likewise, if any sleep or laziness occur, I shall quickly turn them back. Each time something unwholesome occurs, I should criticize myself and then contemplate for a long time that I shall never let this happen again. Likewise, in all these situations, I shall acquaint myself with mindfulness. With this motivation as a cause, I shall aspire to meet with teachers or accomplish the tasks they assign me. In order to have the strength for everything, I should recall before undertaking any action the advice in the chapter on conscientiousness, and then joyfully rise to the task. Just as the wind blowing back and forth controls the movement of a piece of cotton, so shall I be controlled by joy, and in this way accomplish everything. The 37 Verses on the Practice of a Bodhisattva by Dogme Zangpo. Namo Lokeshvaraya. Though he sees that in all phenomena there is no coming and going, he strives solely for the sake of beings. To the sublime teacher, inseparable from Avalokiteshvara, the protector of beings, I pay constant homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The perfect Buddhas, source of happiness and ultimate peace, exist through having accomplished the sacred Dharma, and that in turn depends on knowing how to practice it. This practice of the Bodhisattvas I shall therefore now explain. Now that I have this great ship, a precious human life, so hard to obtain, I must carry myself and others across the ocean of samsara. To that end, to listen, reflect, and meditate day and night without distraction is the practice of a bodhisattva. In my native land, waves of attachment to friends and kin surge. Hatred for enemies rages like fire. The darkness of stupidity, not caring what to adapt or avoid, thickens. To abandon my native land is the practice of a bodhisattva. When unfavorable places are abandoned, disturbing emotions gradually fade. When there are no distractions, positive activities naturally increase. As awareness becomes clearer, confidence in the Dharma grows. To rely on solitude is the practice of a bodhisattva. Close friends who have long been together will separate. Wealth and possessions gained with much effort will be left behind. Consciousness, a guest, will leave the hotel of the body. To give up the concerns of this life is the practice of a bodhisattva. In bad company, the three poisons grow stronger. Listening, reflection, and meditation decline, and loving kindness and compassion vanish. To avoid unsuitable friends is the practice of a bodhisattva. Through reliance on a true spiritual friend, one's faults will fade and good qualities will grow like a waxing moon. To consider him even more precious than one's own body is the practice of a bodhisattva. Whom can worldly gods protect, themselves imprisoned in samsara? To take refuge in the three jewels, who never fail those they protect, is the practice of a bodhisattva. The Buddha taught that the unendurable suffering of the lower realms is the fruit of unvirtuous actions. Therefore, to never act unvirtuously, even at the cost of one's life, is the practice of a bodhisattva. Like dew on grass, the delights of the three worlds, by their very nature, evaporate in an instant. To strive for the supreme level of liberation, which never changes, is the practice of a bodhisattva. If all the mothers who have loved me since beginningless time are suffering, what is the use of my own happiness? So, with the aim of liberating limitless sentient beings, to set my mind on enlightenment is the practice of a bodhisattva. All suffering, without exception, arises from desiring happiness for myself, while perfect Buddhahood is born from the thought of benefiting others. Therefore, to really exchange my own happiness for the suffering of others is the practice of a bodhisattva. If someone driven by great desire seizes all my wealth or induces others to do so, to dedicate to him my body, possessions, and past, present, and future merit is the practice of a bodhisattva. If, in return for not the slightest wrong of mine, someone were to cut off even my very head, through the power of compassion to take all his negative actions upon myself is the practice of a bodhisattva. Even if someone says all sorts of derogatory things about me and proclaims them throughout the universe, in return, out of loving kindness, to extol that person's qualities is the practice of a bodhisattva. Even if, in the midst of a large gathering, someone exposes my hidden faults with insulting language, to bow to him respectfully, regarding him as a spiritual friend, is the practice of a bodhisattva. Even if one I've lovingly cared for, like my own child, regards me as an enemy, to love him even more, as a mother loves a sick child, is the practice of a bodhisattva. Even if my peers or my inferiors, out of pride, do all they can to debase me, to respectfully consider them like my teachers on the crowd of my head, is the practice of a bodhisattva. Even when utterly destitute and constantly maligned by others, afflicted by terrible illness and prey to evil forces, to draw upon myself the suffering and wrongdoing of all beings, and not lose heart, is the practice of a bodhisattva. Though I may be famous and revered by many, and rich as the god of wealth himself, to see that wealth and glory of the world are without essence, and to be free of arrogance, is the practice of a bodhisattva. If one does not conquer one's own hatred, the more one fights outer enemies, the more they will increase. Therefore, with the armies of loving kindness and compassion, to tame one's own mind is the practice of a bodhisattva. Sense pleasures and desirable things are like salt water. The more one tastes them, the more one's thirst increases. To abandon promptly all objects which arouse attachment is the practice of a bodhisattva. All that appears is the work of one's own mind. The nature of mind is primordially free from conceptual limitations. To recognize this nature, and not to entertain concepts of subject and object is the practice of a bodhisattva. When encountering objects which please us, to view them like rainbows in summer, not ultimately real, however beautiful they appear, and to relinquish craving and attachment is the practice of a bodhisattva. The various forms of suffering are like the death of one's child in a dream. By clinging to deluded perceptions as real, we exhaust ourselves. Therefore, when encountering unfavorable circumstances, to view them as illusions is the practice of a bodhisattva. If those who wish for enlightenment must give away even their own bodies, how much more should it be true of material objects? Therefore, without expectation of result or reward, to give generously is the practice of a bodhisattva. If, lacking discipline, one cannot accomplish one's own good, it is laughable to think of accomplishing the good of others. Therefore, to observe discipline without samsaric motives is the practice of a bodhisattva. For a bodhisattva who desires the joys of virtue, all who harm him are like a precious treasure. Therefore, to cultivate patience toward all without resentment is the practice of a bodhisattva. Merely for their own sake, even Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas make efforts like someone whose hair is on fire, trying to put it out. Seeing this, for the sake of all beings, to practice diligence, the source of excellent qualities, is the practice of a bodhisattva. Knowing that through profound insight, thoroughly grounded in sustained calm, the disturbing emotions are completely conquered. To practice the concentration which utterly transcends the four formless states is the practice of a bodhisattva. In the absence of wisdom, perfect enlightenment cannot be attained through the other five perfections alone. Therefore, to cultivate wisdom combined with skillful means and free from the three concepts is the practice of a bodhisattva. If I do not examine my own defects, though outwardly a Dharma practitioner, I may act contrary to the Dharma. Therefore, continuously to examine my own faults and give them up is the practice of a bodhisattva. If, impelled by negative emotions, I relate the faults of other bodhisattvas, I will myself degenerate. Therefore, to not talk about the faults of anyone who has entered the Mahayana is the practice of a bodhisattva. Offerings and respect may bring discord and cause listening, reflection, and meditation to decline. Therefore, to avoid attachment to the homes of friends and benefactors is the practice of a bodhisattva. Harsh words disturb the minds of others and spoil our own bodhisattva practice. Therefore, to give up rough speech, which others find unpleasant, is the practice of a bodhisattva. When emotions become habitual, they are hard to get rid of with antidotes. Therefore, with mindfulness and vigilance, to seize the weapon of the antidote and crush attachment and other negative emotions the moment they arise is the practice of a bodhisattva. In short, wherever I am, whatever I do, to be continually alert and mindful, asking, what is the state of my mind? And accomplishing the good of others is the practice of a bodhisattva. Dedicating to enlightenment through wisdom purified of the three concepts, all merit achieved by such endeavor to remove the suffering of numberless beings is the practice of a bodhisattva. Following the teachings of the holy beings, I have arranged the points taught in the Sutras, Tantras, and Shastras as the 37 verses on the practice of a bodhisattva for the benefit of those who wish to train on the bodhisattva path. Since my understanding is poor and I have little education, this is no composition to delight the learned, but as it is based on the sutras and the teachings of holy beings, I think it is genuinely the practice of the bodhisattvas. However, it is hard for someone unintelligent like me to fathom the great waves of Bodhisattva's activities, so I beg the forgiveness of the Holy Ones for any contradictions, irrelevancies, and other mistakes. Through the merit arising from this, and through the power of the sublime Bodhicitta, relative and absolute, may all beings become like the Lord Avalokiteshvara, who is beyond the extremes of samsara and nirvana. For his own benefit and that of others, Dogme, a teacher of scripture and logic, composed this text at Rinchen Pug in Ngulchu. Aryasura's Aspirational Prayer in 70 stanzas. Homage to the awakening warrior, the entirely good Samantrabhadra. Homage to the Buddhas gone to bliss, endowed with an accumulation of immeasurable precious qualities, who have uprooted every last poison tree of moral failings, and who abide during the 3 times throughout the 10 directions. Homage to the truth of Dharma that opens the wisdom eye of beings in the 3 realms, that disperses the gloom of unknowing, and is the means for extracting the poisonous arrow of latent tendencies. Homage to the sons of those gone to bliss, the Sangha intent on virtue, who never revert to worldliness, and whose thoughts are motivated by great compassion. Unceasingly, I bow my head to all who have opened the eye of their mind. Whatever slight non-virtue I have committed throughout my lifetimes, or have encouraged or rejoice in, I lay bare before the conquerors and pledge never to commit them again. Without an exception, I rejoice in the virtue accumulated by those gone to bliss, solitary realizers, listeners, and conquerors' sons, and in other wholesome deeds of worldly beings. Whatever non-virtue creatures commit, confounded by the venomous emotional afflictions, for them may I surely plunge alone with pleasure into the realms of hell. Having satiated the world with the nectar of peaceful delight, may everyone's mind become active in virtue. May I willingly take on myself as much misery as beings may have. May perfect awakening itself be produced soon in the minds of these beings. May those who have generated the pure awakening thought perfectly accomplish the collections for enlightenment. By accomplishing the collections of virtue and attaining the spiritual levels, by remaining in the lineage of protectors of the 3 worlds, and by annihilating the foes of Dharma, may the abode of the great kingdom of truth over the 3 worlds be attained. No matter how many days there have been since the awakened beings became enlightened under the Bodhi tree, I beseech those who are alive and abiding hereafter to cause the incomparable nectar of truth to rain upon ongoing beings. I entreat those nobly minded ones who have completed their sublime activities for the sake of others, and who are about to enter the supreme state beyond sorrow, to remain for a long time acting to benefit others. However many sentient beings there are wandering in the gloomy 3 worlds, I shall invite them as my guests to savor the blissful nectar of extreme peace. Whatever virtue has been accumulated in this way shall be dedicated totally for perfect awakening. Thus may I never be apart for even an instant from Bodhicitta, the mind intent on enlightenment. Until the rank of those gone to bliss, the basis of complete perfection, is attained, may I never be apart from the leader of the subduers and the awakening warriors. They are the ones who finally elucidate the path of activities for benefiting others. May I also advance, free from despondency, through every spiritual level of the sons of the awakened ones. May my body be complete with the physical attributes of a human and amassed with qualities worthy of praise by all creatures. May I recollect past lives, be born to an honorable family, and have an attractive body. Having discarded the vile action of ceasing to aid others, but zealously working for my welfare alone, aroused by thoughts tormented with compassion, may I cherish dearly all creatures without favoring one. May there not be the slightest grasping in the thoughts of others at my possession that I consider the wealth of others, but may they take and use whatever they wish, like someone who never doubts his own wealth. Even if someone should demand my flesh, may I offer it with pleasure in my eyes. May I always donate my limbs and so on for the welfare of all embodied beings. May I, like a wish-fulfilling gem, provide all that beings desire, and may I, like the wish-granting tree, completely fulfill their hopes. May I spontaneously banish evil actions far away like filth, and may I never breach the dam of precepts proclaimed by the Supreme Subduer. By abolishing concern for my body and life, may I always enjoy places of solitude. May my thoughts turn away from all gains and honor as if they were poisoned food. Like a child of lowly status, I will discard arrogance, self-importance, and pride towards beings, and shall act to establish harmonious relations, like in a gathering of kin from a noble family. May I be accustomed to ethical discipline, an ornament utterly pacifying all obscurations, stainless like moonlight and the root of a lotus, untorn, unmixed, and unsoiled. Although someone against whom I have done no wrong should saw my head, splitting it into hundreds of pieces, I shall unceasingly hold him dear in my mind, just as a mother cherishes an only son. Should someone become angry with me from his heart and needlessly rob me of my life, may the unbearable and bitter fruits of his actions never arise. Although anger, abuse, provocation, and aggression should besiege me, may I never forsake patience, but willingly take on all adversity to practice the deeds of the conqueror's sons. Thus may the dangling rope of doubt never sway in my mind for even an instant over the extremely profound and highly logical Dharma of the subduer that never before did I find. May I, who am born from lifetime to lifetime, by earnestly acting to benefit all beings, never fail to engage in vast virtues for even a mere moment of time. Like a servant, may I accomplish all the tasks of every living being, and, having accepted the burden of working for all, may sentient beings abide in happiness. Since my body acts as a servant for others, even when speaking, may I be pleased to teach them Dharma, and may even my thoughts constantly be empowered by the mind endeavoring to benefit others. Even if I alone have to undergo misery for innumerable aeons in hell, still may I ripen sentient beings spiritually without ever becoming weary. Surely, in the very process of accomplishing the welfare of others, I actually will don this very armor of spiritually nurturing the three types of beings, so that they may become disciplined. May I joyfully cross without hesitation pits so filled with burning embers of fire that there is no space so as to hear even one word of the good doctrine. In abandoning being enticed by the results of all concentration and formless absorptions, but by dwelling on the supreme limit of perfection, may I be accustomed purely to that bliss that arises. Having mounted the horse of calm abiding that is not obsessed with the warm experience of meditative absorption, may I tame the elephant of the mind that naturally roams and is most difficult to tame and ventures along the wrong path. Since the supremely fine riches possessed by rulers of gods and universal emperors, being in the nature of desire, are just like filth, may I never hold them in high regard. There is no joy drifting through this existence similar to a burning house of iron, but being led by compassion, may I be reborn wherever it is conducive to assist others. Whatever absorptions all spiritual sons of universal protectors have mastered, such as the stance of a lion, the inconceivable, the sport of a hero, the various activities, the going bravely, the treasure of space, and the stainless, having attained all myself, I will bestow their bliss on the three kinds of beings, thus allowing them to enjoy their sublime accomplishments. May I thoroughly and supremely perfect the ocean of craft, literature, and art, and may every sentient being be wise in knowing the entire meaning of their own language. Having gained the stainless, sharp, and infinite intelligence distinguishing all words and meanings, may I share with sentient beings the extremely profound and logical teachings. To every living being without exception who does not perfectly understand Buddha's word, may I finally elucidate many teachings as though inscribing letters on their minds. Having surely ascended to the state of the 10 fruitful powers, may I actualize those practices that are the means for making the purpose of living beings completely worthwhile. Just as all prayers of the subduers are a cause for helping sentient beings, so too may I work constantly to attain the perfection of prayer. By immediately suppressing as they arise all overwhelming masses of foe-like emotional afflictions, and not wavering from mental activities, may I remain only to be of benefit on earth. By having perfectly realized these phenomena to be like illusions, mirages, and magical emanations, and having discarded the mesh of conceptions, may I be of benefit throughout the 3 worlds. Just as fathers especially cherish an only son, so will I continually remain in meditation on pure love for every ongoing being, by removing all stains of aggression. Just as mothers, out of affection for an ailing son, in taking his burden on themselves suffer accordingly, so will I work to enhance my compassion towards each and every ongoing sentient being. When I see success delighting others, may I, in especially generating much pleasure, remain meditating on joyfulness, as if my only dear son were happy. Having dispensed with anger and attachment toward sentient beings that correspondingly cause me to harm or to favor them, may I accomplish the tasks of all 3 worlds, like completing one's work for one's son. Having realized the powers, heightened awarenesses, analytical knowledges, mystical spells, and the doors to liberation, may I simultaneously be of benefit to sentient beings throughout the immeasurable expanse of the universe. Whatever countries where the name of Buddha has not entered the ear, there may I act according to the deeds of Buddha, through imparting his various methods. Until the sun, the teacher of the 3 worlds, rises here in this universe, may I, like the sun, dispel the darkness of ignorance from each and every embodied being. Whatever beings there are whose thoughts are saturated with evil, and who have been rejected by many beings gone to bliss, may they be tamed by relying upon the sphere of action of my speech. So that I may serve everyone in the universe, I will be loving like a relative, kind like a mother, and like a father, shall give beneficial advice. Even by merely recollecting my name, may all beings immediately be protected from fear, and may all misery of the three worlds be dispelled. May I be a vase of goodness and medicine against illness for people who are destitute in hundreds of ways. May I also provide a cool pool of nectar continuously for the masses of hungry spirits. May I be warmth for the cold hells and cause rain with sweet breezes to shower on the hot. As well, may I placate every harm in the very low realms of bad migration. Even by beings merely remembering me, may I be a true friend to those who face destitution, solid armor for those stricken by a rain of arrows, and cooling water for those afflicted by fire. When beings remember me, may I be an opponent for the venom of defilements, a firm bridge over the torrent of the three worlds, and may I bar the door to unfortunate destinies. May even merely recollecting my name be enough to prevent all beings from falling into the abyss of worldly existence. May I become the foundation of the stairway leading them to the pinnacle of pure peace. Even if someone, out of anger, should recall my name for just an instant of time, may he never plunge into bad destinies, and may he surely accomplish perfect Buddhahood. May my excellences, stainless like moonlight, bring happiness throughout the whole universe. May I work to generate immeasurable delight for others, even by merely breathing. Having attained perfect awakening itself, where all is fully complete, may I also settle all ongoing beings in that ultimate awakening itself. At that time, may not even slightly faulty actions arise in the minds of whoever may be my disciples. May they always help other creatures and remain on the path of 10 virtues. May the realms of bad migration never be seen, even in dreams of anyone fitting to be my disciple, and may the far reaches of places of bad destiny be pleasurable like the realms of celestial beings. As long as anyone remains in the midst of the ocean of the three worlds' non-virtues, though I have completed the deeds of a Buddha, may I remain in this world for them. When I have enacted my passing into the state beyond sorrow, may my teachings not become disordered, and may none of my followers be swayed for even a moment by the dangling rope of doubt. Thus, by delighting in the performance of the conqueror's sons, may whatever virtues I have gathered be shared by each and every living being without exception. On the Bodhisattva Vow by Chandragomin. Even a cow knows how to take care of himself, to eat a few clumps of grass he easily comes across. Even the beast can merrily drink from a pool of water he finds as bitter thirst torments him. But think now what it is to put your whole heart into taking care of others. This is glory. This is a park of pleasure. This is the ultimate. The sun climbs aboard his fantastic chariot, flies across the sky, and lights up all the world. The earth raises up his mighty arms, bears the load, holds up all mankind. And so is the way of those great beings who wish nothing for themselves, their lives devoted to a single song, the well-being and the happiness of every living being. Three Bodhicitta Poems by Jason Espada. At once it is the sun and moon, the sun and the rain that brings everything out beautifully. It's balm and nectar. It's food, water, and medicine. It is the embrace of a mother or a wife, the encouraging voice of an old friend. There is no end to Bodhicitta. It is a candle, a scripture. It's clearing the ground to build a house or a library or a school, clearing the path so we can walk, clearing away clouds so we can see. There's no end to this. It's poetry, showing all good things, and its hope restored, mistakes forgotten, gotten over, gotten past. It's freedom and welcoming arms to someone learning to walk. It's the joy that speeds healing, and its miracles in abundance. It is paradise itself, and it's every small kind act containing worlds. Tell me, who can speak of this fully? We all can. This is our birthright, our very nature wanting to be born. It's the sun of wisdom and compassion inseparable, drawing all things together, leaving nothing out, no one, no teaching, no person or place or time. It's universal and personal, our teacher, our very self, our Lord, and worthy of every praise. It is selfless prayer, wonders of wonders, actually praying itself. It is self-existing, just like this. This goes beyond anything we can say about it, and yet it's somehow still always fully present, awakening, actualizing from life, bringing forth life, love itself, our true life. This essential sun, beyond words and the ground of all words, saying, if we were to put words to it, may all beings be happy. And we all must find a way to speak, to reply because of this, to say what's in us. How will we live? This says, dedicate yourself to the ultimate purpose of all beings, and don't waste time, and every hour is precious. This says, here, sweeten your disposition, and see time, and give yourself. How will we reply? How will we live? Just this, for me, this is the one point containing all. For me, this is the golden road with heaven worlds all around, where all benefit in some way. This is the most satisfying path, regardless of struggle, the most fulfilling. Regardless of how hard it is to say, it's the biggest joy, the brightest joy. This is what is reliable. For me, the safe haven. It's breath. It is sight. For me, it is giving, and knowing now the pleasure of having its gift received. This is love, and this will, purpose of human life, lived to the fullest. Oh, many voices, many hearts, celebrate this with me now. What is Bodhicitta? Bodhicitta is our own true nature of wisdom and compassion inseparable. How to speak of this? It's the rain that nourishes growing things. It's the sun that makes everything flourish. It's the embrace of a mother or a wife melting troubles away. Bodhicitta, it's like the encouraging voice of an old friend. It's selfless prayer, naturally, having a purpose past what we see now. It is a word, it is magic, parting clouds so we can see, or clearing a path, or building a house, or a library or a school. This one source everywhere becomes a hospital, and doctors, and medicine. In lost times it is inspiration. This is pure light, this is warm touch, and it is clarity and strength. It reaches over every ocean, over every rocky climb, through whatever barred gates, past any disbelieving mind, giving life. Who can ever speak of this, and what can compare to this? There is no end from what I can see, and all day my heart sings that this is in me. What can compare to this? It's like a hero calling captives out of their dungeon. It's like a fresh morning after one was given up for dead. Astonishment, disbelief, and then a great wave moving through everything of praise and generosity. It's like fragrance or memory or dream that speeds healing. It's a true word spoken when it's needed. It's direction and food and gifts appearing in our hands to give. It is learning and giving to match someone's need. It is song, universal language, universal and for all times currency, and a true friend. It's meeting our own true nature. What can compare to this? So then it is ethics and wisdom, meditation, patience and effort, all natural and effortless in a way. It is all the forms created to express one intent, and it is all the names given. It is tradition, and all are seeing past form and tradition. Today I write this because it's the only thing I can think of that draws all things to itself. The only thing I can think of that gives everything else some place in the world. All the teachings, all the differences, all the wonder, all the pain. This is the ultimate name, the one thing most worth praising. This is the activity of all Buddhas, the very nature of all heroes and heroines, angels and saviors. With my little notes at home today, this is all I wanted to write. It's an elixir reviving the dead, a teacher filling your mind with great things. It's a compass, a key, or a lock when you need a lock. It's an oar when you need an oar, an umbrella when you need one, a net holding back poisonous creatures, a shield first into battle, a word spoken, and not just any word, but just the word you need to hear, a magic word. It's encouragement, fresh life, inspiration to continue your journey with wisdom, with clear eyes, and with joy. It's food, it's big love. This is music and grace and love's power, love pouring itself. It's the friendliness you meet, and it's food. It's simplicity itself. Good things for now and for generations to come. Everything contributes to the power of this practice. It can be like the first rain after a blazing summer, or it can be like a lion's heart, a warrior who's never known fear. It's setting things in order. It's saying your name, calling your name, not like all the others, your true name. The graver the danger, the stronger the will to protect. The more something is worth, the greater the will to give. This is peace and action as one. Moving worlds, not fading, giving to be given, awakened in teachers to be awakened in me, the fullness of love given to be awakened in you, and on and on. What words are there to express this? Look, this is you, this is for you. Nine Similes on Buddha Nature by Maitreya. The heart of Buddha abides in the hollow of delusions. It can be understood by these images. A Buddha inside a muddy lotus, the honey of a bee, grain inside its husk, gold in a sewer, treasure under the earth, the germ within a seed, a statue wrapped in filthy rags, an emperor in an ugly hag's womb, and an icon covered with slime. Thus does the essence of Buddhahood abide within all beings, obstructed by the stains of transient delusions. As for the transient delusions, they are likened to the muddy lotus, the bee, the husk, the sewer, the earth, the seed, the rags, the woman afflicted by the flames of misery and the slime. The Buddha within, the supreme sphere of natural perfection, is likened to the Buddha, the honey, the grain, the gold, the treasure, the germ of the seed, the statue, the emperor, and the precious icon. When a man with stainless clairvoyance sees a Buddha radiant with 1,000 signs sitting inside a muddy lotus, he removes him from within that lotus. Likewise, the ones thus gone, possessing the Buddha eye, see truth itself in every being, even those in the deepest hell. Out of compassion, those unobstructed lords work until time's end to free all from aberration. When a man with stainless clairvoyance sees a Buddha inside a dirty lotus, he cuts down that lotus. Likewise, the accomplished ones see that all beings have Buddha essence, obscured by stains of attachment and aversion, and, out of compassion, they work to destroy those obscurations. When an intelligent beekeeper with ambitious eyes sees honey surrounded by a swarm of bees, he tries to separate the bees from the honey. Likewise, the Maharishis, the great seers, being omniscient, see the honey-like essence of Buddhahood and work to destroy totally its bee-like obstacles. That ambitious man disperses those billions of bees and then uses the honey as he wishes. Likewise, when one eliminates the bee-like delusions surrounding the honey-like primordial awareness, one becomes a king of sages. One cannot eat a grain which still lies in its husk. He who wishes to eat a grain removes it from its husk. Likewise, the stains of mental aberration are mixed with the Buddha in beings, and for as long as that Buddha is not separated from those stains, that long its Buddha activity does not manifest in the triple world. Rice or wheat not removed from its husk, and not cleansed of its bristles, is not fit to be used as food by men. Similarly, as long as the Lord of Reality, abiding within all beings, is not freed from the husk and bristles of mental distortion, that long one cannot give the taste of blissful truth to beings tormented by the hunger of confusion. When a god with the eye of clairvoyance sees gold which has fallen from a wandering man's pockets into a foul and filthy place, gold which for centuries has lain waste, he tells someone just where that gold is. He tells them to clean that precious substance and to make jewelry from it. Likewise, the wise see the excellent in beings, but see that that excellence is sinking in the filthy sewers of delusion. They release the reins of the holy Dharma unto those beings in order to wash away the slime of their delusions. When a god sees gold which has fallen into a foul and filthy place, he attempts to show that supreme substance to men so that it may be cleaned and utilized. Likewise, the victorious ones see that the jewel-like Buddha essence, possessed by all beings, has fallen into the sewers of delusion, and they point out reality to those living so that it may be purified. Under the floor of some poor man lies an uncorroded treasure, but because he does not know of its existence, he does not say that he is rich. Similarly, inside one's mind lies truth itself, firm and unfading. Yet, because beings see it not, they experience a constant stream of misery. The pauper with the treasure buried underneath his shack does not say that he has a treasure, for he knows it not. Likewise, the treasure of truth lies within the house of the mind, yet we live impoverished through lack of it. Therefore the seers take a pure birth into the world so that it may be known. From the fertile germ found within a banyan's seed, comes a sprout which, if planted and tended, gradually produces a kingly tree. Likewise, within the seed of being's ignorance is the precious germ of perfection, and by relying upon that germ, the state of a king of wise men is produced. With the conditions of water, sun, air, earth, time, and space, the germ inside a banana or mango seed eventually develops into a tree. Similarly, given the proper conditions, the sprouting germ of innate Buddhahood, which abides in the shell of delusion, gradually produces the vision of reality. And when a god sees a Buddha statue made of gems, covered in stinking rags, and lying on the roadside, he speaks of it to a pilgrim to salvage it. Likewise, those with unobstructed vision see that the very substance of Buddha exists even in animals, but it is wrapped in the rags of mental aberration, and teach all the various spiritual methods so that it may be salvaged. When one with the eye of clairvoyance sees a precious Buddha statue wrapped in rags and lying on the roadside, he shows it to man to salvage it. Similarly, the cosmic conquerors have seen that the seed of perfection exists even in animals, but lies on the roadside of worldliness, wrapped in the stinking rags of mental distortion, and teach the Dharma to release it. A friendless hag living in a slum is carrying in her womb one who is destined to become an emperor. But she does not announce that in her womb is an emperor, for she knows it not. Similarly, in the slums of the worldly realms live impure beings who, like that hag, carry within themselves the stainless seed which will become their own protector. Although that hag carries an emperor in her womb, she is clothed in tattered rags, is hideous, lives in a slum, and experiences every form of suffering. Likewise, although we all carry our own protector within, we think that we are helpless, and consequently, out of the power of mental delusion, we live in confusion, propelled by misery and turmoil. When someone sees a precious icon of pure gold covered with slime, he, knowing of the gold within, clears away the covering of filth. Similarly, the all-seeing ones perceive that our true nature, clear light, is stained, but that these stains are transient. These wish-fulfilling gems amongst men inspire beings to purify their obscurations and attain full enlightenment. The wise one who knows that inside the slime is a beautiful icon made of stainless, radiant gold removes that slime. Just so, the omniscient ones know that of the mind of peace, likened to gold, and by demonstrating the path to knowledge, they disperse and purify the obstacles obstructing it. Thus it is that, like a Buddha in a dirty lotus, the honey of a bee, grain in its husk, gold in a sewer, treasure under the earth, the germ within a seed, a statue in filthy rags, an emperor in an ugly hag's womb, and an icon covered in slime. The ultimate nature of mind, stainless and unobstructed, abides in the coverings of worldly thoughts, yet is unmixed with and unhindered by them. By these 9 similes are shown 9 delusions: attachment, aversion, narrow-mindedness, obsession, instinctual ignorance, and the stains abandoned by the paths of vision, meditation, impurity, and purity. Thus one travels to the end of the millions of mental distortions. It is pleasant to see a fresh lotus, but a faded and rotting lotus is not pleasing. pleasure gained through attachment is the same. When a bee becomes angry, it stings. When anger arises, it brings misery to the mind. Obsession is likened to filth and slime, for its cause is based upon lustful greed. A hidden treasure cannot be used, for its existence is unknown. The self-originated nature of beings, buried in the earth of instinctual ignorance, lies ignored. The gradual growth of a sprout cracks open the shell encompassing it. Just so, the growth resulting from perception of ultimate truth destroys the objects to be abandoned by the path of vision. The heart of the destructive views related to the path of a high one, the negativities destroyed by the wisdom of the path of meditation, are likened to tattered rags. The stains abandoned by the first 7 of the 10 levels of a bodhisattva are likened to the ugly hag's womb. The baby leaving that womb is likened to the ripening of the non-conceptual wisdom. The stains dealt with on the 3 pure levels should be understood as the covering of slime. Thus do the 9 delusions destroyed by a great being's diamond samadhi resemble the 9 examples. The ultimate truth that is discovered within, the self-born essence, is an object found only by the bold, just as the light of the sun is not seen by those without eyes, although it shines equally on all. There is nothing to be eliminated from this, nor is there anything to add. It is the very perfection seen by a perfect one, and when it is perfectly seen, there is perfect liberation. From the Prayer of the Lord of Sutras, Holy Golden Light. By the sound of the great drum of the Holy Golden Light, in these 3 worlds, 3,000s of worlds, may the sufferings of cruel migrations, the sufferings of the Lord of Death's domain, and the sufferings of privation be brought to an end. By the thunder of that mighty drum, may all want in the world be ended. Just as the lords of the subduers are without fear, their fears allayed, so too may all sentient beings be without fear, parted from their fears. Just as the all-knowing able lords, though dwelling within the cycles of existence, possess all holy qualities, so too may the meditative concentrations of all beings possess the qualities of the harmonies with enlightenment, and may those qualities become oceans of qualities. By the thunder of that mighty drum, may all beings come to possess the voice of Brahma. May they attain the most blessed enlightenment of the Buddhas. May they turn the virtuous wheel of doctrine. May they live for unimaginable aeons. May they teach the way for the welfare of wanderers. May they relieve suffering and destroy afflictions. May they extinguish desire, hatred, and delusion. May those beings who abide in places of tortured existence, those beings whose bodies and bones are burning in flames of pain, may they hear the beating of the drum, and may they cry, "I bow to you, the Buddhas." May all beings remember their births in hundreds of lives, in thousands of lives, in tens of millions of lives. May they be ever mindful of the lords of sages, and may they heed their vast words. By the thunder of that mighty drum, may all beings find constant companionship in the Buddhas. May they abandon the actions of ill deed. May they practice those of good. May all the suffering, of all that lives, in all the lands of all worlds, be forever stilled. And may those creatures, crippled in their limbs, impaired of sense, all be made whole. May those afflicted with sickness, weak and frail, without refuge in the 10 regions, all swiftly be relieved of their ills, be renewed in their organs and strength. May those threatened with death by rulers and thieves, those who lie at the mercy of 100 different miseries, those living beings besieged and suffering, all be freed from their hundreds of unendurable fears. And those tortured by bonds, bound and beaten, those who live amid manifold poverty, are oppressed by many thousands of afflictions, incur all manner of misery and terrors which they cannot bear. May they be released from their bonds. May the scourged be delivered from their beatings. May the condemned have life, the troubled be unafraid. May those who hurt with hunger and thirst partake of a feast. May the blind see a myriad of shapes, the deaf hear a symphony of sounds, the naked be clothed, the poor find a treasure. May all have the pleasure of possessing many precious jewels. May none be tormented by feelings of pain. May they all be fair of face and figure, their bodies subdued, their minds abounding with unremitting bliss. By the mere thought, may their wishes for merit and riches, food and drink, at once be made manifest. May their longings for the melodies of lute and drum, for streams, lakes, and ponds, pools full of golden lotus and utpala, their dreams of clothes and wealth, pearls, gems, exquisite golden ornaments, and lapis lazuli, all instantly be fulfilled. May there not arise an anguish cry in any world. May none know unhappiness. May they all be beautiful, and may they be a light for one another. Whatever is held most high by humanity, may it be theirs simply through thought. May all their desires immediately upon conception be altogether realized as the fruit of their merit. Throughout the 3 times may they have incense and garlands, scented oils, aromatic powders, variegated flowers, and flowering trees. May they take them, may they be happy. May they worship in the 10 directions all the inconceivable ones gone thus, the bodhisattvas, the hearers, and the immaculate, pure teachings of Dharma. May migrators shun all that is unworthy, pass beyond the 8 states of unrest, and attain crowning kingly leisure. May all beings always have the Buddhas at their side. May they always be born into noble families. May their affluence and fortune flourish. May they be richly adorned for endless aeons with praise and fame, lovely radiant bodies. May they be brave, may they be strong, may they be wise and lucid. May they ever strive for enlightenment. May they engage in the 6 perfections. May they behold in the 10 quarters the Buddhas beatifically seated upon thrones of precious lapis lazuli before the supremely sanctified tree of enlightenment, and there may they hear the truth revealed. From the Noble Vajra Banner of Victory Sutra. That suffering, that mass of suffering, the suffering of all sentient beings and their various obstructions and hindering actions, because of which they do not see the Buddhas, nor hear the Dharma, nor know the Sangha. Do I take upon this my own body, a bundle of pain, accumulated through 3 defiled actions. the suffering of those beings who are born in hell, who dwell in realms of cruel migrations. May death take them beyond such migrations. That awesome mass of suffering do I assume. To that end I strive. In that end I take joy. From that end I shall not turn away, nor shall I run away. Nor towards that end shall I be dismayed, or afraid, nor draw back, or be apathetic. If you question why, it is because I bear the burden of all that lives. This is not out of desire for my own pleasure, but that I have vowed to free all sentient beings, and thus to fully unfold them. I shall free all wandering beings, free them from the desolation of being born, from the desolation of old age and of disease, free them from the desolation of the rounds of birth and death, from the desolation of all bad migrations, and of never-ending unrest, free them from the desolation of all that is conditioned, of all obscuring views, from the desolation of the depletion of virtuous actions, and of unknowing arising from the depths. From all shall I liberate all. All those creatures entangled in nets of their own desires, shrouded in veils of ignorance, clinging to their worlds of conditioned being, in their final moments afraid. All those creatures plunged into the depths of pain, subsisting in prisons of repeating patterns of existence, without wisdom, without honor in their words, in doubt, irresolute, knowing only sadness, unknowing of dependent arising, alone, swept round in whirlpools of afflicted minds and subjugated lives. All these creatures shall I establish in the kingdom of sovereign wisdom. My struggle is not for liberation for myself alone, but by the mind of very omniscience shall I unbind all others from the wheel of existence, the ever-turning wheel from which it is hard to be freed. I shall deliver them out of the awful abyss, save them from all harm, rescue them from the torrent of their own swirling minds. Upon myself do I rest the load of sorrow of all of them. It is my pleasure to suffer the pain of each and every tortured existence, in all, however many realms of existence. I shall not defraud all the world of my roots of virtue. I shall strive to abide in even a single bad migration until the last aeon to come, and just as in one bad migration I shall, without exception, abide in all bad migrations, in all the realms of existence, for the sake of liberating all living beings. If you question why, is it not reasonable for but one being to suffer rather than all beings fall to realms of ruin? I, myself, here let my blood, that I might redeem all wandering beings from the wilderness of the Lord of Death's domain, from places of birth as animal and as hell being. With this very body shall I endure all suffering aggregates of feeling for the sake of all sentient beings. I take joy in reaffirming the trustworthy truth of my proclamation. I am the yoke-bearing nape of all sentient beings, for the sake of all sentient beings. I shall not forsake even one sentient being. If you question why, with all that lives as my object, I shall engender the very mind of omniscience itself. That is, not for my own pleasure, but that I may altogether liberate all living beings, have I wholly set forth toward unsurpassed, perfect, complete enlightenment. Thus, whenever and for however long all beings are attaining great happiness, from happiness never before known up to the ecstasies of very omniscience, shall I wholly dedicate my roots of virtue. Dedicate them that I may be a leader drawing others along, a bearer of a lamp, a guide for those on their journey to peace, provisioner for those on their journey towards leisure. Dedicate them that I may be skilled in methods and wise in meanings, that I may abide on the furthermost shore, having navigated the seas of cyclic existence, in the wisdom ship of all-knowing, that I may be a master of pure dedication and a teacher pointing the way to transcendence. I shall in every way cultivate roots of virtue for the sake of every living thing. I shall totally dedicate these roots of virtue. Dedicate them that I may liberate all sentient beings, that I may appear to all sentient beings, that I may be known to all and free all sentient beings, that I may care for them, spiritually mature them, fulfill the needs, and dispel the doubts of all sentient beings. I am like the sun. I depend upon no other. I shall not surrender the Bodhisattva's armor to another. Indeed, I shall eliminate the very need for others. I shall not pause from effort to protect but even one being, and as one, all living beings. I shall not cease from utter devotion to assuage all suffering. I shall not settle for trifling roots of virtue. I shall know no peace with less than all-consuming dedication. The Lam Rim Dedication Prayer. From my 2 collections, vast as space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind's wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread, or once spread have declined, may I expose this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted bounteous peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time by even this graded course to enlightenment, completed due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes an effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. No Place I'd Rather Be by Jason Espada. In good times, hard times, and the worst of times, there is no place I'd rather be than right here. If you ask me why, it is because, by the power of love, I can share the joy with you and make it more. I can help to make the pain less, and I can offer happiness. That is why, through it all, and when things get tough, and even or especially in the worst of times, in the worst of worlds, there is no place that I would rather be. If this were the only world where there is both happiness and suffering, still I would choose just this one to be with you. By being here together, we can make the way better for one another, don't you see? That means more than anything else to me. For this very reason, it's worth every effort, whatever we need to go through. It is, all of it, then, completely worthwhile. Giving of ourselves, measured next to this world's pleasures, there is no comparison, really. People don't know of this, or else they don't feel capable, and so they hide or run to small pleasures that disappear even in the moment and are gone. But because we can be light for one another, make each other's trials that much less, and offer food and shelter, even for future times, through love, there is no place that I would rather be than right here. This thought strengthens me in hundreds of ways. If we only get one song, and that song is our life, then let this be my song. Let everything else be done or left undone, no matter. But just this, to aim to care for you in the best of ways, this brings life, freshness that does not fade. Every other gain and loss, no matter, but just this, of all worlds, of all paths, to be with you and to offer you my hand for your whole life. Oh, the joy of this. Dedication Prayers by Jason Espada, with traditional prayers. By this merit, gathered together with all the virtue of all the 10 directions and 3 times, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, saints and sages, realized beings, lamas, monks and nuns, yogis and yoginis, contemplatives of all traditions, and excellent practitioners, gathered together with all the merit and good wishes of family, friends, and noble, kind-hearted people everywhere, by the merit and positive energy of all the good that exists, by all the virtue of the ultimate nature, by all this merit, may the benefit of beings everywhere effortlessly arise. May all beings benefit. May all beings have happiness and the causes of health and happiness. May this bring healing wherever it is needed. May this bring about the firm establishment of true health and happiness for us all. By this merit, may all who are unhappy in any way, confused, angry, anxious, afraid, attached, sad, or depressed with distorted views, instantly be completely freed from those states. May they be comforted, and may they have perfect peace, wisdom, strength, and lasting joy. By the virtue of this practice, by all this merit, may we all be completely free from all illness, spirit harm, and from all of the painful, hallucinated, afflictive emotions forever. May we all be completely free from all samsaric states forever. May all beings completely realize the Dharmakaya. May this be the medicine that frees everyone from suffering. A prayer by the noble spiritual friend Lama Zopa Rinpoche. By this merit, may all those who are suffering from pain or illness immediately be totally freed from that pain. May they immediately be completely healed. And may they be firmly established in true and lasting health and happiness, well-being and strength, comfort and ease. By all this merit, may all those who want to go on retreat have the opportunity to do so without delay. May they all have the resources they need. May they find all suitable conditions, and may their retreat go exceedingly well. May they have all excellent realizations. By all this merit, may health increase everywhere. May ethics and meditation and wisdom increase. May loving kindness and compassion increase. And may peace and harmony increase everywhere. By all this merit, may all monasteries, monks, nuns, and lay practitioners, dharma centers, and social service centers have everything they need to serve beings most effectively. May monastics and laity everywhere all keep completely pure ethics, develop the supreme good heart and wisdom, and may all their good works flourish forever. By all this merit, may all beings have all they need in their lives. May those who need a job find a job. May those who need a place to live find a place to live. May those who need food and drink find good food and drink. May those who need a friend find a friend. By all this virtue, may we all have everything we need to be truly happy. By all this merit, may everything we see, hear, think about, and dream be auspicious. By all this merit, may all the pure positive wishes we have for each other be completely fulfilled, instantly and effortlessly, just as in a pure land. The following two prayers I have heard and admired from Lama Zopa Rinpoche. May those I hear about that are sick immediately be healed. May all those who have come to my attention who have any illness or who are unhappy or in need in any way be blessed. May they be healed. May they all benefit. May they all have happiness and all the completely actualized causes of health and happiness. And may those I have heard about who have passed away be reborn in a pure land without taking rebirth anyplace else. May their families be comforted. May they all know blessed peace. May those I hear about who are experiencing difficulties be free from those difficulties. And may all fortunate circumstances come to them right away. May the supreme jewel Bodhicitta arise where it has not arisen. Where it has arisen, may it not diminish. May it ever grow and flourish. By the merit of this practice, gathered together with all the virtue of all the 10 directions and 3 times Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, saints and sages, realized beings, lamas, monks and nuns, yogis and yoginis, contemplatives of all traditions, and excellent practitioners, gathered together with all the merit and good wishes of family, friends, and noble, kind-hearted people everywhere, by the virtue and positive energy of all the good that exists, by all the merit of the ultimate nature, may warfare cease, may all injury be healed, and all danger pacified. May we all produce the conditions for countless generations, starting now, to experience genuine peace. May our intentions equally penetrate every being in place with the true merit of Buddha's way. By all this merit, may all those to whom I am connected by good or bad karma have every happiness. May they be free of all suffering and receive every joy and all good fortune. May they have good health, wisdom, long life, well-being and strength, comfort and ease. May all the prayers of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas be completely realized now, and may all of my prayers succeed immediately. By this virtue, may those who are in need in any way whatsoever receive every benefit. May all have happiness and all the actualized complete causes of health and happiness. At this point, a review of the names and circumstances of those particular individuals that you wish to pray for can be inserted here. By this virtue, may those who are in need in any way whatsoever receive every benefit. May all have happiness and all the fully actualized complete causes of health and happiness. By this merit in my mind, may I not withhold any gift whatsoever from any being in any place, wishing them all a great abundance of joys. By all the limitless good that exists, may all the needs of all living beings everywhere be completely fulfilled. By all this merit, for every one of us when this life is over, may we each be born immediately in a pure land, and in all our lives, may we never be separate from qualified teachers and from conducive environments with all the supportive conditions for continuing our practice of the Dharma. By all this virtue, may I attain the complete realization of all practice and bring all others to that same state. May we all individually attain the complete realization of our practice, genuine happiness, health and peace, and all good things, wisdom, compassion, and ability. By all this merit, may all holy teachers live long and guide us until samsara ends, and may there be peace and joy in all the world. Dedication Prayers by Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Due to all the past, present, and future merits collected by me, and the merits of the 3 times collected by all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and other sentient beings, may any sentient being, just by seeing me, touching me, talking about me, remembering me, or dreaming about me, never ever be reborn in the lower realms from that time forward. May they immediately be liberated from all disease, spirit harms, negative karma, and defilements. May anyone who sees me, touches me, talks about me, or remembers me immediately be cured of cancer, AIDS, coma, arthritis, migraine, and other heavy diseases. May those possessed by spirits be immediately released from the harm of those spirits. May anyone who is dying immediately stop experiencing terrifying emotions and karmic appearances and feel incredible bliss in their heart. May they then be born in a pure land of Buddha, where there is no suffering of rebirth, old age, sickness, or emotional problems. Totally free from all suffering and its causes, may they become enlightened there. Dedication Prayers by Lama Zopa Rinpoche. Due to all the past, present, and future merits collected by me, all the 3 times merits collected by numberless sentient beings and numberless Buddhas, may Bodhicitta be actualized in one's heart. Due to all the past, present, and future merits collected by me, all the 3 times merits collected by numberless sentient beings and numberless Buddhas, may the Bodhicitta, source of all success for oneself and happiness up to enlightenment, and the source of success and happiness for all the numberless hell beings, numberless hungry ghosts, numberless animals, numberless human beings, numberless suras and asuras, to be actualized in the heart of oneself and all sentient beings. May it be generated in the heart of all sentient beings, especially the supporters, those who are serving the organization in the past, present, and future. In the hearts of our family members, for Bodhicitta be generated, and in those whose hearts has been generated, may it increase. May the supreme jewel Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow. May that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Due to all the past, present, and future merits collected by me, all the 3 times merits collected by numberless sentient beings and numberless Buddhas, may Bodhicitta be actualized in the hearts of all the leaders of the world, especially in those countries where there is unbelievable suffering. May Bodhicitta be generated in their hearts. May the supreme jewel Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow. And may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Due to all the past, present, and future merits collected by me, all the 3 times merits collected by numberless sentient beings and numberless Buddhas, may Bodhicitta be actualized in the hearts of all the people who follow different religions. May this world be filled with perfect peace and happiness. May whatever we do never harm, and may it become only the cause of perfect peace and happiness. May the supreme jewel Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Every single understanding of Buddhism that we have, every single purification we do every day by doing the practice, every single merit we collect, every time we generate bodhicitta, and it becomes the cause of enlightenment, every time we meditate on Lam Rim and plant seeds of enlightenment. All this is due to the kindness of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and secondly, due to the kindness of Lama Yeshe. So pray for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to have a stable life and all his wishes to be successful. And pray for whatever wishes Lama Yeshe had to become successful. For Lama Osul to be like sunshine in the world, especially for young people, to turn their minds toward enlightenment. Pray to actualize immediately all the prayers that Chenrezig made for Tibet in the presence of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Due to all the past, present, and future merits collected by me, all the 3 times merits collected by numberless sentient beings and numberless Buddhas, may all the father and mother sentient beings have happiness. May the lower realms be empty forever. May I be able to cause all this by myself alone. Whatever suffering other sentient beings have, may it ripen upon me. Whatever happiness I have, may it ripen upon other sentient beings. Due to all the past, present, and future merits collected by me, all the 3 times merits collected by numberless sentient beings and numberless Buddhas, may oneself and one's own family members, all the students in the organization, all the supporters who have served the organization in the past, are serving now, everyone in this world, may we be guided by Lama Tsong being the Mahayana direct guru in all our lifetimes. Never be separated from the pure path, admired by all the Buddhas. Due to all the past, present, and future merits collected by me, all the 3 times merits collected by numberless sentient beings and numberless Buddhas, which exist but totally do not exist from their own side, may the I who exists but who totally does not exist from its own side, achieve Guru Shakyamuni Buddha's enlightenment, which exists but totally does not exist from its own side, and lead all sentient beings who exist but who totally do not exist from their own side to that Guru Shakyamuni Buddha's enlightenment, which totally does not exist from its own side, by myself alone, who totally does not exist from its own side. May the organization, the FPMT, be most beneficial to sentient beings, to spread the Lam Rim teachings, to cause sentient beings to have Lam Rim realizations, in particular, whatever center where we are, to be most beneficial and to spread the Lam Rim teachings, to cause of realizations in the heart of sentient beings, and for oneself to spread Lam Rim realizations in the heart of all sentient beings. May Lama Tsongkhapa's teachings, which unify Sutra and Tantra, and are like refined gold, spread in the hearts of everyone in this world. From a Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life by Shantideva, from Chapter 10, on Dedication. May all beings everywhere, plagued by sufferings of body and mind, obtain an ocean of happiness and joy by virtue of these merits. May no living creature suffer, commit evil, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled with a mind weighed down by depression. May the blind see forms, and the deaf hear sounds. May those whose bodies are worn with toil be restored on finding repose. May the naked find clothing, the hungry find food. May the thirsty find water and delicious drinks. May the poor find wealth. Those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May there be timely rains and bountiful harvests. May all medicines be effective and wholesome prayers bear fruit. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their ailments. Whatever diseases there are in the world, may they never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting each other. For as long as space remains, and for as long as sentient beings remain, until then, may I too remain to dispel the suffering of the world.